Ciao guys, welcome to another episode of the Personal PR Show. And today we're here with Hannah. Hello, Hannah. How are you?
Hi, Jessica. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. Hey, everybody. How you all doing? Hope you're good.
Yes. Oh my God, I already love this. I always tell my students to greet not only the host, but the audience as well.
Absolutely.
Did it? Oh my God, you're such a great podcast host, as we know, because this is the topic of today's conversation, but you're a great podcast guest as well. Oh my God, that's amazing. Okay, great. So guys, Anna is here to talk to us about how to start, launch, and grow a podcast, which is something that we all want to do. A lot of us already have a podcast, but we want to get better. And some of us don't have a podcast yet. So today's conversation will be relevant for pretty much everybody here, right? Hannah, so thank you so much for making the time today to enlighten us about the art of podcasting. But before we get started, would you like to maybe introduce yourself, tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do?
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jessica, for this amazing platform. It's really an honor to be here today. So, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to everybody on this platform, wherever you're watching from. So I'm all the way live from the UK. So I'm Hannah Kupoluyi, and I am a multi-award-winning podcast host, executive producer, and business coach. And so I'm the founder of Podcast Creators Network, and I'm the host of the Birth Your Vision podcast, which is actually for women in business. And so the Podcast Creators Network basically assists coaches, service-based businesses, as well as female entrepreneurs to launch and grow their podcast so that they can actually attract their ideal clients and also build joint ventures and raise brand recognition. So that's what I do in a nutshell.
Oh my God. And in a nutshell, you have already explained how relevant podcasting is for networking and for business. Oh my God, I love this already.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Thank you so much for bringing this magic into the world, because it's so much needed.
Yes, indeed, definitely is.
Yes, Hannah, because I got so excited, usually I don't prepare questions, but because I got so excited about today's topic and especially interviewing you, I did prepare a few questions, which I have here on my phone. So the first question that I prepared for you is this. Can you please tell us about your background, which you have already a bit, and how you got into helping coaches launch podcasts? Because you just told us what you do, how you help them, but how did it all get started?
Absolutely. So just a little bit about my background. So my background is in business and media. And in terms of business, I support female entrepreneurs in business to help them to bring their ideas to life. And also I host networking events to bring businesses together. And so my platform also supports media and things like that. So I just realized that there was a need for more support in the coaching industry for leveraging the power of podcasting. And so I decided to actually merge my business skills and my media skills to be able to turn that passion to help coaches, to help them to launch a successful podcast, and as well as also grow their business. And so everything started during the lockdown, Jessica, and this was the period where I decided to dust off my old laptop, as well as one of the mics that I received for Christmas about 2 years ago. It wasn't really working, and I said to myself, I really want to be able to connect and to reach people around the world, because during the lockdown, you remember those times we couldn't really have any events, we couldn't have face-to-face meetings, we couldn't really host networking business events. So I decided to really just kind of start interviewing businesses online and finding out how they are pivoting their business. What are they doing to scale their business? And so I decided to just give birth to the Birth Your Vision podcast, all during the lockdown in the comfort of my daughter's room. Guess what? I had to ask her, can I use a small space in your bedroom? And she said, actually, Mom, we can actually negotiate. So, she learned the skills of negotiation. She said, on one condition, Jessica, if you can actually redecorate my room. And I said, hold on a minute. That is not part of the goal for this year. We are supposed to do your room maybe in the next year to come. And then I said, you know what, let me have a conversation with your dad. And so we had a conversation, and then we decided that, okay, in order for me to have that space in the room, we have to negotiate and meet in the middle. So we decided to redecorate her room. So when she went to, college and she came back, we surprised her and she was absolutely delighted. And she said, Mum, you can definitely have a space in my room and start your podcast from there. And so that was how this dream came to life. And I'm able to help as many coaches as possible to be able to launch their own podcast.
Yes, Hannah, this is such a fun story. I mean, everything you said, I love it. But let's go back to the anecdote with your daughter. So, were you able to launch your podcast only after you decorated your daughter's room?
Absolutely. Yeah, because she wanted to have the room done, and we had it on the plan, but we didn't really have it to get it done around that season that she wanted us to do it. We wanted to do it in another time so that we can have enough to be able to, give her the best room ever. And so we had to bring it forward because she was so good at negotiating. And so we just had to kind of redecorate the room so that I can have the opportunity to be able to start my podcast.
So you can even say, okay, good, I'm starting my podcast today and I'm going to redecorate your room maybe in a month. But in the meantime, I can already get started with a podcast. You weren't allowed to. It should be a lawyer.
Absolutely. He's got some great negotiating skills. She definitely twisted my arms and her dad as well. She got what she wanted and I also got what I needed. So it's a win-win.
It's a win-win, definitely a win-win. Oh my God, I love this story. This story needs to be told. Yeah, okay, so the second question that I prepared for you, Hannah, is what are the biggest challenges that coaches face when starting a podcast? And I think that a lot of people in our audience will actually identify with what you are about to describe.
Absolutely. As you can see from the story, one of my challenges was finding a space within the comfort of my home. I needed to locate a space first so that I can feel comfortable to be able to, display all the right equipment for me to actually start the podcast. And so, one of the biggest, there are several challenges that coaches face when starting a podcast. And some of the common challenges include technical difficulties, because some people, they're not very tech savvy. And so they kind of struggle with the kind of equipment to use, what type of microphone to use and things like that. And so they also lack a clear direction in terms of a strategy, and also fear of using, different equipments that may fail them, as well as not really knowing how to monetize their podcast effectively. So number one, it's about clarity. They don't have the direction or how to start or the right roadmap. Also equipment, because some of them are not really tech savvy, and also how to monetize their podcast productively.
Yes, absolutely. Wow. Yeah. Yes. And how do you do these three things, by the way?
Yeah, so this is where I come in because, in order for you to actually start your podcast, you need to work with someone who has already been through the journey, who can hold your hand and give you the step-by-step roadmap on how to do it so that you don't really have any hurdles along the way. And so that's why I've been able to, give them an opportunity to work with me, come online and join me on a discovery call while I take you through the roadmap and show you the step-by-step on how to do it. So that's what it's all about. There's no need to struggle this year to start your podcast. There's an opportunity for you to actually learn those skills and understand how you can actually avoid making those big challenges that people, usually make at the beginning of starting their podcast.
This is amazing, Hannah, because this way, by just following you as a mentor, people can just collapse time. Like something that would take them, 20 hours, 30 hours, they can collapse it in like half an hour of just following you what you forward. Because you went through the whole process yourself already. Now you've got the wisdom and you're sharing it. So people can take advantage of that. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, which leads me to question number 3. What are the key elements of a successful podcast for coaches, Hannah?
That's a very good question, actually. So the key elements when it comes to successful podcasts for coaches. So a successful podcast really for coaches needs to have a very clear target audience, because there's this saying, you speak to everybody, you speak to no one. So you have to be clear on your message. You have to be clear on your target audience. And you also have to have a unique, compelling value proposition, right? So that you can attract your ideal clients, as well as a consistent release schedule. So you must be able to know that these are the days that you're going to be releasing your podcast, so that your audience are expectant of when you're going to release it. As well as you need to make sure that you have a high quality audio, which is a very good way to have a good production, so that people can hear you clearly, your message is loud and clear, and you're able to amplify your voice and your message and your expertise to your target audience, as well as effective monetization strategies. So when you combine all this, this makes up the key elements that you need as a coach to be able to launch a successful podcast.
Yes. Oh my God, that's amazing. Let's say that we have done all of these things in order to launch a successful podcast. Now, what are going to be the benefits of launching a podcast? But now let's focus, like, as we have been over the past few minutes, on coaches, because we're always talking about coaches, right? This
Absolutely.
is really, yeah. So like, you have a lot of coaches in your audience. We have so many coaches here in the personal PR group. So that's why, guys, we're really focusing on this, because we want you to have let's say, the maximum benefit from this conversation. Yes. Sana, what do you think are the benefits, the main benefits of launching a podcast for guests?
Yeah, thank you so much for that. The benefits are absolutely huge. Podcasting has completely changed my life. I am featured in magazines. I am featured in newspapers and articles. I am being called to speak about podcasting because I am now seen as an expert in my field, to share my knowledge, to help people, because I have the proven strategy, right? So I'm here today to share about this knowledge. This is another way to actually help me to be seen, to be heard. These are part of the benefits of launching your podcast, because launching a podcast can actually help coaches to build their brand. Some people, they are hiding behind the scene, and so it might be for so many reasons. It could be because they lack confidence, they are overwhelmed, they don't really know how to show up powerfully. And so podcasting will actually help you to actually be seen, be heard, and people will listen to your message. It really helps you to raise awareness about your brand recognition, and people can actually see you as an authority, as a credible leader, as someone who is an authority figure, who understands their services and what they offer. And so it's also a great way for you to be able to establish your expertise. So many coaches, there are so many expertise that they share online. Some of them are very good with helping people to build up their mindset, to be able to shift and transform, their journey from ideal to be able to launch their business. So there are so many ways that you can establish your expertise by sharing this knowledge with your ideal audience, and they will be able to listen to you, and you can offer so many things to them as well. So the other benefits is actually, it helps you to reach a wider audience. I'm in the UK, I am reaching almost 30 countries because of podcasting, and people can hear me from so many different places. I get lots of reviews from people from Arizona, from people from Switzerland, from people from, New Zealand, listening to the podcast. So it's really amazing. And another benefit is that it helps you to generate leads and sales, and also create a revenue of streams of income as well. So these are the major benefits for you to be able to launch your podcast as a coach.
Oh my gosh, we have to launch a podcast right now. Everybody. Haven't got a podcast yet. Right now.
It's time to launch.
Yes, let's launch. Hannah. No, but Hannah, I mean, I love everything that you said, as usual. And I would like to highlight one of the items that you described, which was the relationship between podcasting and personal PR, which for us includes, of course, personal branding and thought leadership, like really how to position yourself and be recognized as an authority in your field. I love that. Yes. This is where podcasting and personal PR go hand in hand.
Absolutely, indeed. It gives you instant recognition. You're seen as an expert immediately, and people want to come to your show. I have a lot of people who are booked to interview, and people who are ready to go on a discovery journey with me to really understand how to launch their own podcast.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Absolutely. So now we've talked about the main, let's say, points of focus of podcasting and the main benefits of podcasting. How about you walk us through the process of building, launching, and growing your own podcast? Maybe like the main steps.
Yeah. So the process is very much easy. However, it could be a little bit challenging for some people, and that's why you need to work with, you know, someone who is more experienced and understand how to take you through those step by steps. And so, you know, when it comes to podcasting, my process basically involves conducting a discovery call. Number one, because I want to get to understand the coach's goal. I want to know what your aims, your objectives are, and I want to get to know the kind of audience that you have. And what message are you trying to actually convey to your target audience? What are you trying to help them to solve? What are their pain points? And how can you be the solution to their problem? In this life, all we need to do is to find the pain points of many of the people that we want to work with and find a solution to it. So when you come on the discovery journey with me, we're able to discuss that, look at your goals, look at the target audience that you are focusing on, and also building an audience and helping you to create a podcast strategy and a brand strategy to help you to set up all the right things to help you to bring that to life as well. And then also the process, it's about looking at the technical infrastructure. Like I said before, some of us are not tech savvy. In fact, that's one of the barriers when it comes to starting a podcast. Some people find it difficult. They don't understand how the technology work. And so I'll be able to help you through that process, as well as producing and launching your first few episodes. This is where people get excited about it, and also implementing, you know, a monetization plan. So these are the simple steps that we will go through to be able to help you from the ideal to launching your own podcast.
Yeah. Oh my God, I loved it when you talked about the brand, because actually, of course, we all have a personal brand, but would you say that your podcast should have its own brand as well?
Yeah, I think it should all work together. So if you're a business coach, obviously you're going to be doing a podcast in regards to coaching. It's going to be about a specific subject, and it's going to be targeted at a particular group. And so it's about merging what you're already doing into your podcast. And so bringing out your character, bringing out, you know, who you are, so that people understand that there is more to you than just a business coach or whatever coach you are, so that people can actually relate to you. So it's about bringing your ideas together to form a great brand, which is really awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Which is something that I've been doing with a personal PR show as well. Of course, I've got my brand, but then the show is actually branded, like it has its own brand. Of course, it's connected, but this is something that I'm well with my mastermind, a personal PR mastermind. I'm kind of course, it's connected with me, but I also a lot of times just build awareness, raise awareness just for the mastermind in itself. It's its own product, own brand. It has its own life as well. So yeah, but of course it's connected with me. So I love what you have just said. Yes.
Absolutely.
But now that we've talked about all of the shiny positive things about podcasting, let's now go and talk about something that is not as positive, but we need to address this. What are the mistakes that you have observed when coaches, you know, run their podcast or try to launch their podcast?
Yeah, what I've come across is a variety of different mistakes, you know, common mistakes that coaches who are trying to launch a podcast, what they experience. So some of them are basically not having a clear target audience, because sometimes your messages can be missed by those who really need to know what your messaging is. You can be selling a message to people who are not really interested. So it's about making sure that your messaging and your target audience is on point. Because once you identify who they are and you've been able to identify their pain points, you're able to create content and you're able to create episodes specifically for that target audience. So that way they can now form your unique value proposition, right? So that they will now be able to really look at what you're producing and also see how you can help and how you can actually support them. And another one is actually poor audio production quality. Some of the podcasts sometimes can have issues with the sounding, with the background noise, and some of them can have that sort of like a bleeding sound in there as well. So those things are definitely common mistakes. And it's about not having a right clear monetization strategy. I always encourage coaches that it's important that you have at least like a high ticket to sell, or maybe like a low ticket offer to sell, just because it's about monetizing what you are doing. You are attracting your ideal clients, and you are also helping them to solve their pain points by creating solution-based high ticket offers, or solution-based low ticket offers, or you're even creating like a simple lead magnet, something simple, something more medium, and something more advanced. So it's so important that you look at these before you even embark on starting a podcast. So if you are not clear, you need to get clear by making sure that you know who your target audience is and you have a good, clear monetization strategy in place.
Yes, on this note, on a monetization note, Hannah, I did have a question regarding this. So my question was, how can coaches use that podcast to grow their business and reach new clients?
Absolutely. And this is all about, having a clear monetization strategy. Before you even decide to start, you've got to ask yourself some few questions. Why am I starting a podcast? And what is my monetization strategy? I will go through different types of monetization strategy on a discovery call with any coach who wants to, open up that conversation, because I feel it's important for you to choose one or two so that you can have a clear focus on exactly what you are doing. So coaches can use their podcast to actually establish themselves as an expert, number one, in their field, right? And so this will actually help them to actually build a strong relationship with their audience. Okay. And so this will help them to also generate leads and sales through calls of action. So when you are going to be doing your podcast and you're sharing your episode, there is something called a show notes. And this is where you will now keep all your information in terms of a call to action, and your call to action can simply be book your discovery call with me so that we can continue the conversation from the episode that I've just released. Or it could be that, I have a free lead magnet to help you with, for example, to launch a business, or to help you with, getting clear on your mindset to start something. And so these are ways that you can actually start to grow your business, to reach a new clients, because you're showing up, number one, and you have now established yourself as an expert. You have a particular target group that you're focusing on, and you're able to generate audience as they're listening to you, as well as generate leads and sell, and you have your call to action. And so you can actually offer premium content if you wanted to, and your services through podcasting as well. So these are the ways that you can actually reach new clients.
Wow, these are a lot of ways.
Yeah, there is multiple ways. You've just got to choose what is convenient and what's comfortable for you, because podcast itself attracts people, right? People want to listen to podcasts. They want to see a vodcast, which is also a video as well. And so if you have the right message and you have the right content, people will reach out to you. And so for you as a coach, you've got to get things in line. Everything has to be information. You've got to have your call to action. You've got to have your lead magnet. You've got to have an offer, because you're sharing a message that solves a problem. And so they'll reach out to you.
They'll reach out to you. Oh my God, this is amazing. And by the way, Hannah, we recommend to people to also record the podcast in video version so that they can share it, for example, on YouTube.
Absolutely. And it's definitely optional. One thing about podcast is an audio platform, an audio medium. But now things are changing within the marketing world, where video are much more of a faster reach. And so I would advise, if you're not so shy, or if you don't have any other reasons why you shouldn't do a video, then go for video, because you have two options and you have two of both worlds, audio and video, which is really amazing. And these are very easy to set up. There are tools and apps to help you to be able to do those things. So it's pretty straightforward. And you can
Yes.
also repurpose those two things. You can repurpose the video, you can repurpose, the audio as well. There's so many things you can do with just one content. It's just incredible. It's mind-blowing, to be honest.
Oh my God. How many, on the top of your head, how many ways there are to repurpose a podcast? I don't know,
Okay.
5, 10, 15?
There is so many ways. So you can actually take a video and, just edit it, put it on the reels. You can create an Instagram story about it. You can actually do a behind the scenes of how you get yourself ready as a podcast host to be able to interview a guest. You can actually do a, mini workshop and just show people on, let's say on Zoom, or maybe invite them to your Facebook group and just show them how they're able to create a simple graphic design of how to do a poster for a podcast guest. That's another way. You can actually do mini audiogram sound bites, where you can share that on your LinkedIn page, on your Instagram page, or any social media platform. You can also basically share it on different platforms so that people can get to really listen to it. And also, if you have a guest, they also need to be able to do the same thing and use that as a marketing medium to be able to promote themselves, because they are going to be sharing things that they are good at. And so that's a great way for them to use that and leverage that and share it on their newsletter. You can also share it on your newsletter. You can do email marketing and even promote your product, especially if you're talking about a particular subject in that episode, and say, you know what, listen to my new podcast, and it's all about how to use a business system. And if you don't have a business system currently, please click the link below and sign up, because I do have a business system app that you can actually use. And that way it's almost like you're sharing your affiliate link. So you will be able to get something from that. And so they will also be able to get something. So there is multiple ways, Jessica, to be able to repurpose a podcast continuously. And it doesn't get old. It's always going to be there.
Yes. Oh my God, this is amazing. Repurpose, multi-purpose, multi-leverage. Oh my God.
Absolutely. Forever purposing with a simple audio or even a video podcast.
This is amazing. We could talk for hours. And now I see that we are approaching the end of our conversation, unfortunately. And I do have one last question to ask you. But before I do, may I ask, would you like to come back to the Personal PR Show? We would love to have you.
Absolutely. That would be an honor to be back again. I hope everybody's really taking in some great tips and strategy to help them to get started.
Because you have already given us so much, but at the same time, I know we have just been scratching the surface, because your wisdom about podcasting is infinite, is like almost infinite, right?
Thank you so much. Appreciated. Yeah, I love what I do. And so I have this lovely passion for it. So I'm able to really talk about it. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm like, ask me any questions about podcasting, I'm able to deliver.
Okay, so we'll do the next episode of the Personal PR Show in your sleep.
That would be awesome, actually. Fantastic. We can actually repurpose that, can't we?
This is super newsworthy. The first ever podcast that is recorded during the
guest. Absolutely. We need to find some SEO optimization words to go with that, so that you can actually reach the top of the search engine. Indeed.
Exactly. It will be covered by magazines and publications and newspapers and everything. Yes,
absolutely.
We have a plan. But the last question that I would like to ask you, Hannah, is this. I asked this question to everybody, and some people are like, oh my God, this is such a cool question. Some people are like, oh my God, this is so silly, should I really respond to this? So let's see your reaction. The question is, now I've raised like all of these, or let's say suspense, but the question is very silly. So it is, Hannah, what is something that I didn't ask you over the past 40 minutes, but I should have asked you?
Oh, okay, that's a very interesting question. So the question would be, how can people get to work with me?
Ooh. So Hannah, how can people get to work with you? We have so many people in this audience, a Personal PR group on Facebook, plus a Personal PR Show on YouTube, that I'm sure would love to launch and grow their podcast. So how can they work with you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jessica, for that amazing question. So it's pretty easy to get to work with me, where I'm able to take you on a simple discovery call for you to actually get to understand, the roadmap to starting in terms of launching your own podcast. So I'm just going to leave the link in the chat. You can also help me do the same as well, Jessica, so that you guys can actually reach me. So the idea is to actually help you to gain clarity and help you to birth the vision when it comes to giving birth to your podcast, and show you the roadmap on how to get started. So today I'm happy to actually offer, you guys a wonderful complimentary discovery call, and we can have a chat about it. And also there's an opportunity for you to actually be a guest on the show as well. So it's all about getting in touch, and then we can have a discussion whether you are a great fit. And I hope that really helps.
Oh my God, Hannah, this is amazing. Both offers are super amazing. And wow, the second one is that people can also apply to be a guest on your show. This is groundbreaking. Wow, because we know we have been talking about you having your own podcast. So that would be like a channel that you own. But we know I always talk about it all the time. I'm always talking about, like, sometimes I get on people's nerves because I'm always insisting on this point. It's like visibility, right? It's not only your own channels, but it's you being featured in third-party channels. So guys, you can actually be featured. You can apply to be featured on Hannah's podcast, which for you is third-party coverage, which gives you social proof and credibility. What's better than this?
Yeah, indeed. Absolutely. Because you're able to showcase what you do, and also, get the opportunity to see how you can start your own show, how you can actually be positioned as an expert so that people can actually listen to your message. Because the truth is, Jessica, everybody has a story. Everybody has a message. And sometimes they don't know how to convey that message through a medium, through a powerful platform. And so podcasting has basically been around for years. But over the lockdown period, people started to really use it as a marketing tool to really amplify their voice and share their message. So what message do you have inside of you that you feel people need to hear? What target groups do you feel can actually resonate with many of the solutions that you have to solve? So it's about looking at what you can do and what you can offer, and create an opportunity for people to listen to you and to also buy into what it is that you are helping them to do. So podcasting is a great, powerful way to be able to share your message and also showcase your expertise, and also provide solutions to your specific target audience.
I don't know what to say anymore because
I've over-delivered.
Oh my God, please come back. We have to have you back already, like next month, already in March, please.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, you brought so much wisdom, so many pearls of wisdom. Guys, you have to go and apply this. I always say, start your podcast, and now hopefully you have really understood how important this is. Hannah is at your disposal. Please go talk to her and then report back to us here, and let us know when you launch your podcast.
Absolutely. That will be really awesome. And it will be a pleasure to have you also on the show as well, to interview you. So stay tuned for that. Yes.
Like, do you mean me or my
lovely?
Yeah. No, thank you so much. I would never say no. Thank you. So guys, certainly I will be sure to announce the podcast interview that I will have with Hannah as soon as it's out. I will be sure to share it here with you all. Thank you so much, Hannah. This has been such a treat. Come back soon.
It has, hasn't it? Absolutely. It's been a pleasure being on your platform. Thank you so much for having me. And to everybody watching, it's been really great. I hope to speak to as many of you as possible. And, let's get your podcast started for 2023.
You can only win from starting a podcast. Oh my God. Yes. Let's do this.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hannah. Lots of kisses to you and to you too.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Bye, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Ciao.